understand the logic because between game 2 and game 3, the draft didn't change. Like in terms of what MVP played, in terms of composition identity, pretty much the same, right? You add some changes here and there, but for the most part, the idea is the same. And they realized that, hey, it's not an execution problem. It's a draft issue. The Gallo is just too much of an issue for us to deal with. As a result, this is one of the 3 kind of highly contested picks I told you will be surfacing during this VO5, one of which was the Galio, the next being the Lee Sin, and then following that, the Xayah as well. So the Galio is already banned away, the Ziggs is also banned out too. MVP here should be looking for either the Gragas into the Xayah or Gragas into the Lee Sin.
So first pick coming out from Albert, going to be once again the Gragas. Nothing's changed here. Both sides just looking to hold on to this. Wow, actually goes right for the Darius. The moment it opens itself up, Azar locks in the Darius, and they're going to go to Corki as well.
One of his most successful Baron laners to date, I think. So I do like this coming in. MVP now taking a page out of Team Secret's playbook. With the Gragas and the Lee Sin, they can set up for this Yasuo here. The problem being that against the Darius, Yasuos tend to falter because if the Darius finds a lead in the Baron lane, somehow he gets fed, the jungler pays attention to that lane, and they're able to set it up. The Bruiser generally wins against this Yasuo composition because he's able to sustain through the initial burst coming in, and then he just man fights you.
MVP continues on with the Lee Sin Yasuo. You talk so much about the Yasuo. I'm quite curious about this Lee Sin and how it kind of plays into this composition. It's pretty different from that Wukong. You know, the Dragon's Rage could be used, but it's a lot less reliable than something like the Cyclone. Instead, rounding off the composition, Papa going with that Jinx, David going in with that Lulu to finish off MVP's draft as it's a response is going to be that Annie in the mid lane out from Team Secret.
Yeah, I think the idea here is that the Lee Sin functions as like a solo knockup in the sense that if you want to find a pick with the Yasuo, you don't have to expend a big ticket ultimate, right? It's just a one-off kick into a last breath, you kill whoever's picked off. And then you still conserve the wild growth as well as the explosive cast and disengage. So it functions as an enabler, but a cheap and a very effective one.
Oh, sorry, I meant it's a Pantheon mid, not an Annie mid, right? So this makes a lot more sense. That being said though, you know, it's pretty good dual potential against the Yasuo and running what looks to be that Ignite and just expanding it right away in this lane.
I think Tatsuri here with the Pantheon is an adaptation. He's like, well, Yasuo's gonna be playing more aggressive to try and find a lead. This Pantheon is the perfect answer, already burning the Ignite and trading across the barrier. Now he has kill potential. He can flash forward and Q him once the shield is down. That shield first on Artsy.
He says, you're gonna play my best champion against me, I'm gonna show you why you don't do that. Brings in the Pantheon and displays a pretty good laning phase right now, punishing Yahtzee pretty hard. Just gonna force him back a little bit, takes away that barrier, and so like you mentioned, in that kill potential range, we'll have to see if Jarvan can maybe make a play here to try and set up with their team. Pegor walks in, they're just gonna crash this wave as Pegor collects the Scuttle Crab, I believe. Or just not just yet, it hasn't come up yet.
Look at the minimap in terms of what both teams are doing. They're trying to get mid pressure first so they can split it, and then both teams kind of get control of the Scuttle Crab. The bot Scuttle Crab has been highly contested in all games so far. This game doesn't expect to be different, but because MVP recognized they don't have that power in this game, they will be moving towards the top one.
Yikes, Pegor gets forced away from the Scuttle Crab. Azar walks in here, forces him back. Meanwhile, over to the mid lane, good damage onto Yatsuri. Yatsuri might just go down. He walks back in, Pegor has to flash away as the Ignite takes him down pretty low. Instead, Yahtzee and David going to force away members of Team Secret. It's a good rotation out from the Lulu and a nice engage out from Hamez.
Team Secret will be the one to double crab MVP this time. They already got the top one as we saw earlier. Now they will pick up the bottom one. So the sneaky kind of, unorthodox pathing from Lee Sin, not as available when you have vision of the river. You can't jump over the dragon and come kind of from behind anymore.
And here we go, looking like an engage over onto Papa. Forces the flash from the Jinx right away, and very disciplined use of that flash, dodging away from a potential knock-up and headbutt into the team. This is why you play more Jarvan. Jarvan has been so effective at denying the Lee Sin and has made so much more impact and has such good dueling potential pre-5. You can't really give that one away.
Compared to the Olaf, 100%. And especially when you have the Jinx on the other side for MVP, locking him in place, doesn't matter what buffs are are thrown onto the Jinx, if you're able to trap Papa inside the Cataclysm, the rest of the team should be able to collapse and punish the Jinx. So there's the idea of synergy there. Team Secret, however, they are the ones that, when it comes to scaling, again, it's 4 melees and a Corki. Whenever we see this, we know that sieging is not going to be good for them unless they can win a team fight, and their composition falls off very heavily unless they can pick up the Baron.
But Baron is still ways away for both sides, as the next objective is actually going to be that Dragon, and I think that Team Secret actually has a pretty good chance to just fight out for this Dragon, though. That being said, there's a lot of big ultimates out from MVP that could really change the tide of the fight, and set up very well for the Yasuo. So I'm curious if they're actually going to be able to, they're going to look to try and take down Yahtzee before the fight breaks out, because I think if the Yasuo is actually alive, you run a very real risk of just losing it outright.
You can force on the Yasuo together with the stun as well as the knockup from Jarvan. So there's very reliable crowd control, right? From Tatsuri here, if he hits the stun into a knockup, you can kill the Yasuo, but it's a lot committed to try and get a man advantage, right? I think Team Secret here, since they're first to the play, they will be able to set up Vision Clear wards out and then set up a choke together with the Jarvan. The problem is they don't have the manpower, they don't have the damage.
Alright, what's gonna happen here? MVP have already collapsed in on the Dragon, and so it looks like Team Secret are looking to give this one away. Alba comes in, oh, it's a big knockdown connecting over onto the main carries of Team Secret. They're looking to go down, Trevor has to flash away, so Jarvan's already almost dead. Yahtzee over the back end of the pit, gets killed off.
Scariest time.
And it looks like a ton of damage out from Corki. Shubi joining to the fight, has turned things around for Team Secret, and they continue on to Alba. Jumps on with the stun, one more attack, Shipper to find it. It's Alistar that claims the kill, and 4 dead on the side of MVP. Team Secret, they lose the Drake, but they find so much more.
Remember what I said in the draft, Brandon? If you don't kill them with your initial burst, if your wombo combo with the Yasuo is unable to find a pick, the Darius is just going to sustain through that fight. The bruiser that he is will just walk up to you with the Destinate and find those resets with his team. I think this is the big problem right now for MVP. They kind of opted into Yasuo comp, but with the Jinx. And this Jinx needs time to come online. Tatsuri now 2-0-1. He's going to be punishing Artsy early in the mid lane as James comes in. They could find a kill here.
Yeah, actually a lot of damage onto Yasuo right away. They continue to go onto the Lee Sin, but Pego does have his dash and his flash available, so he just walks out of that. That being said, look at his vision control out from MVP. They invested heavily to try and pick up the Dragon, and they did, but instead they lost a lot more. Thankfully, Team Secret was not able to get the turret, and so they still hold on to that little bit of good news, I guess. But for the most part, apart from picking up the Dragon, you see they lost a significant amount of golden EXP, lost quite a bit of tempo, and so now if Team Secret get the reset, come back even stronger, go back into laning, and pressure out MVP.
Also, look at this. Artsy went for the Blade of the Ruined King as opposed to the Static Shift, so he knows that his upfront burst isn't there. Like, he's not bursting down a Jarvan or a Darius. What he wants is like consistent DPS, right? He wants to be in the fight, be able to hit the Steel Tempest as well as autos. So he's opting for a later game scaling build. Together the Jinx, they're hoping that, when the game goes late, they will be able to bring the damage.
They switch things up. Hagar goes down towards the Dragon lane just to see it's Tatsuri and James there instead. I think that's partly because of the ultimate out for the Panther, who actually uses to get it back into the lane, but it's 4 collapsing down to the joining back in, it's going to be Koki, but Koki getting zoned away by the wind wall. As the Star flashes into the back just to realize that Yahtzee's already there waiting for him. They be something they can go for since they just used it mid lane, and so not much to be found here. Instead, Infernal Drag coming up pretty soon. Let's see if the teams are going to reset to try and pick this one up.
It's like half a minute away. And like I was saying before their fight broke out, Team Secret know that their composition kind of isn't that good. It's not very good at scaling, and not very good at sieging rather, whereas on the MVP side they have Jinx. So at least when it comes to taking turrets, they have their extended range, they have the minigun with the increased auto attack speed. So I do favor MVP's chances when it comes to late game, and they're itemizing for it. So Team Secret, they're the ones to be pulling the trigger now. They're the ones trying to take mid tier 1, mid tier 2, trying to force these fights and snowball their lead is 3k while they can.
The dragon has spawned.
And continuing to snowball the lead is what they're looking to do. Package picked up by Chewy, and so he has an additional tool to use to try and set up for the rest of his team. Of course, they have to be very concerned about Yahtzee joining into the fight with some significant crowd control to kind of bouncy castle Team Secret. They start up the Inferno, and so Team Secret take the initiative to start the objective. MVP hovering by the side. They're trying to get back in onto this. Okay, Collapse coming out now. Redemption going to be used. Get some vision onto the enemy side. Azar jumps in with the Rocket Belt. Looks to get the upper hand on the Pagor. Good damage coming out from the Java as well. They're locked out back on the Lee Sin. Lee Sin has to flash away. They're looking for the Yasuo now. Yasuo almost gets taken down. Comes back in with the ultimate. Tries to trade back, but it's still going to be a difficult fight to go for. And a great angle with Team Secret as the tanky Hermes continues to soak up damage for free. They finally managed to take out the Alistar. They pushed back actually. MVP advanced to take that fight after taking out Tatsumi 2. It's a 2-for-1 special, as MVP are now on this ring.
And it might just pick up this as well. Azar's getting zoned away. I don't think that Chewy wants to be here. The speed boost coming in. The flash 2 from Papa. He's looking for the kill. He will not find it. Does not have the ultimate to execute Chewy. Comes the TP. They want to save Azar.
Okay. Joining in now, Emperor Hand connects over on the 2. Nice use of the spin, trying to get the kill on the Albert. Albert goes to survive a little bit longer. First, Treble joins back in now. Almost takes down Papa, but Papa still has a little bit left in the tank, so they have to back away. Yahtzee now joining back in. It's the bottom side of the map that they're so focused around. Both sides are looking for any advantage you can get. They're collapsing back in onto the Jinx, and Jinx is just over by their side. Yasuo in a bad spot. He gets spotted out, gonna get locked up. The crowd control layer by layer. They move back over onto the Jinx, and they divert their attention onto the marksman of MVP. Take him down to Team Secret. Come back up to 2.
MVP dropped the ball there. They got everything that they wanted already, and then they overstay. They get punished. So this nullifies all of the earlier advantages they got in that Dragon fight, by the way. So Grandin here, Team Secret, they're going to be pushing their lead even more. They're at a 5k goal lead, or slightly less than a 5k goal lead, because they were able to find those exit kills as well as the bot tier 1.
It's a value meal for Team Secret. They were looking for Yasuo, and they find Jinx too, and just puts Papa behind ever so slightly. Because you look at the Jinx right now, he's scaling up really well. We talk very often about the power spikes out from Corki. Jinx, for the most part, has been matching pretty decently. And if Corki just can't get this lead, I'm not sure if he's going to be able to trade against the Jinx. Because you have to get so close range. You have to walk in basically melee range to really find that max efficiency Gatling gun.
You can see that, you know, in terms of 5v5s, MVP, like, they excel. They smash Team Secret in 5v5s, right? Team Secret, however, when it comes to these skirmishes, they're able to hold on. They're able to kind of consistently fight because their ultimates aren't really ultimates. If you look at Chewy, you know, Missile Barrage is just another spell in his repertoire. And for Trevor, for him to commit an ultimate, it doesn't mean that they have to signal an all-in. He could just use it to back off, Cataclysm someone, flag and drag out to keep the fight in place, whereas for MVP, they need to commit to these big ticket ultimates to fight.
It's a lot they have to commit if they want to get a good trade against Team Secret. And Team Secret continue to scale up. You can see a couple of tanky items. Look at the direction that Trevor has been going with his item build. He becomes a much more effective frontline. And you pair that along with Hermes, and suddenly that frees up Azar so much. That gives so much space over to Tatsuri as well as Chewy, who now honestly don't have to worry so much about their frontline dying. They can just continue to output damage where they need to. Now an engage coming out from Hermes as he tries to jump into the back because Pantheon is joining in as well with his ultimate to get the lockdown back onto Gragas. Gragas gonna go down pretty soon.
Oh, that's big.
Golden to survive. It's a nice Cataclysm to lockdown too. Flashes into the Cataclysm, but thanks to the Wind Wall dead to save him. That's gonna be the first execute coming out from the Darius. Look for Upper Hand onto the Yasuo. Yasuo actually gets over the wall and so he survives a little bit longer. I think we're gonna be there for Albert as they trade back to take down the Pantheon, but still a double for Team Secret. They picked up 2, but Hermes looking pretty low too. He bases it this time, so it's a 3-3. Both sides cannot find much more here, but instead Team Secret trying to move over to this dragon.
They have control of this area. They just want to box Karo Crab and they want mid priority. That's the important part. Azar shouldn't die here. He's pretty tanky. He has the death.
Oh
That's
my
good
goodness,
apprehend.
you don't just walk into the upper hand like that. They get taken down. And once again, when you look for this Yasuo, the Jinx is surely soon to follow. Team Secret now onto this Baron. Is Teleport coming out for the Pantheon, who's already used his ultimate. You look at their spells right now. They don't have those big ticket ultimates. Instead, they just have tons of damage and tons of control around this big objective. MVP forced back into the mid lane off by Hermes. Baron over to Team Secret.
Brandon, that is an apprehend that gets you in the quarterfinals. Like, honestly, catching Artsy and Papa there and just destroying them gives them this Baron for free, no contest. And Team Secret, like I said, their composition falls off. They need these Barons, they need these snowball leads because otherwise they can't siege, they can't walk up to individually hit turrets, right? They need to abuse side lane pressure and box MVP in. Without the Baron buff, how is any of them going to walk up to hit a turret against a Jinx and a setup for the Yasuo? Impossible, right? So they need this so much to help them close out this game.
You know what? I think that MVP had something right when they banned Darius the first 3 games.
Yeah.
And then giving it away on that 4th game. Azar shows why he is that big force to reckon with. He's been so impressive in this game. 3-0-5. It's a very far cry away from what he's managed to get done with the Akali, and so yeah, I'm a little concerned for MVP. Maybe giving away the Darius was not the right call, and so Azar's gonna make quick work of this bot side turret.
I think Albert messed up this game. He went for AP Gragas as opposed to the tank Gragas the past couple of games, right? This is why he's been punished so hard against Azar. Going for Electrocute and full AP is not the play. You need to be a frontliner for a team.
MVP stuck in base now. They move forward a little bit, but it's an engage coming in as the upper hand connects over the Gragas. The Gragas uses the Hourglass to stay alive as Cataclysm locks down. There's double redemption coming in. The Pantheon runs in the fight's a big one. There we go. That's the game-winning push they were looking for. That's the fight they were looking to try and close out the game 3-1 as they continue in on the Lee Sin. All dead on the side of MVP. Team Secret close out this game. 14 minutes in, just barely under 15, they go 3-1 up against MVP.
Just the Zhonya's for style points, and that is going to be Team Secret moving on to the quarterfinals, granted. That final Cataclysm, like, just take a snapshot of that. It encapsulates why Jarvan is the pick to go to for Team Secret. That was so much value in Team Secret closing out this series. They will be proceeding on to play, oh man, Cerberus Esports in the quarterfinals. That is going to be a match to watch.
They jump out the pit and into the fire. After the round of 12, they move into an even tougher quarterfinals. One could say Cerberus Esports have looked so strong in their own group. Team Secret have a lot to prove by taking them down. An impressive set out from this team. You know, they managed to close out a very convincing final 4th game. The first one was a little bit shaky, second looked a little bit better, third looked even better than that. And in this 4th game, they just put out all the stops, they got everything they wanted with some very interesting adaptations to the meta.
Yep.
They win this game in a very convincing fashion.
I like that they used the Pantheon this game as a response to the Yasuo because it's very tough to kill the Pantheon when he has his shield up. And for the most part, he lanes into Yasuo quite aggressively, right? Because Yasuo is always going to be in range of the stun. There is no way that Artsy can just walk up and trade against Tatsuri without getting caught by the stun into the threat of a flag and drag kill. So this is why the Pantheon pick works. In addition,